Hey everyone, this is Bridget, and today I want to talk to you about vibration and how it's so important to keep it number one, and how that's even more significant in times of challenge and in times of hardship, because it is truly your best friend. Now, this can often go into just like some spiritual nicety or a conceptual thing, but when it comes like down to like the moment to moment, it's like, okay, does that really work? Or like, how do I really do that when I'm faced with that? So I wanted to take you through a story of what I've been through and how I overcame it, to bring in these different principles of how we can overcome these things together. So first and foremost, we know that the reality is an external mirror. It's an external mirror of our vibration. But then it's like, okay, when something crappy happens, you're like, well, how did I create this, right? And it often goes into this victimhood thing where it's like, I didn't do this. And one of the things about the mirror is that it's there to teach us, it's there to serve us, because the mirror and like the higher self who reflects that mirror doesn't necessarily care in a way about like how we feel. It's more about the growth that's important. And so oftentimes when these things come up, if we can look at them from that perspective and still stay in the knowing that we are like the creators of our reality, that we are projecting this, and how we respond, how we interact and engage with the mirror is up to us. And that the quicker that we can learn from this lesson, and often these are just lessons and tests, if we truly have mastered these certain vibrational states, then we can move through them more quickly. So those are a few of the concepts, right, that we've heard about, but now how does this work practically? So about almost 10 years ago, when I was almost graduating from college, I was graduating from a private, really expensive university, and my parents at that time, I wasn't raised like super wealthy or anything, but during high school, my dad had made lots of money, and so I was in this kind of higher echelon of people that I was around, and this certain lifestyle, right? This certain material experience. Now, one of the things that was always instilled in me since I was little from my parents and just the way that I was brought up is that you are the internal value. You are what's significant and important, and it really doesn't matter what you have. So as I started to experience all this kind of wealth and opulence like around me, it didn't change what was meaningful and what was deep. You know, I might have lots of money or like the best house in the city or something like that, but nonetheless, it came down to who I was, right? So that was a principle because of some of the other challenges that I had, say, growing up as kind of a black sheep in like a very religious community and very different. So I understood that like me at my core was who I had to be friends with, and it wasn't this external thing. So fast forwarding. When I was thus in college about to graduate, it was 2009, and the market crashed. I don't know if you remember, and it crashed horribly for particularly the real estate market. And my dad was in real estate. So overnight, our family went from millions and millions and millions of dollars, all this stuff, houses, everything, to pretty much zero. Okay, I won't get into the details of that, but it just pretty much literally overnight disappeared. And so I'm at this expensive university driving this BMW around, and all of a sudden, overnight, there's nothing. The external mirror was whoosh, ripped away of the reflection of abundance, the reflection of money, the reflection of external meaning, right? And nonetheless, I was in this new situation, and I was like, oh my gosh, and had to adjust, right? Had to adapt. And I was just like a month or two away from graduating in the worst job market that the US had seen in 30 years or something like that. So it is a moment, that is one of those moments, right, where the external reality is like, you better freak out, right? This is a moment to freak out. And in this time, I was in this class, and I went to a private Christian university, ironically, because I wasn't Christian. And it was about vocation, and it was about purpose. And so we were having this senior thesis on what are you going to do kind of with your life? And it was brought into this context of the economy just crashed. What are you really going to do? And the teacher went around the room and everyone answered, 30 students. And all these students are like, Heinz ketchup, like really pretty top-notch kids. And they're like, I'm just going to get a job and get secure. I'm just going to get a job and get secure. And like the whole room pretty much said that. And it struck a deep, deep chord in me of that is absolute bullshit. Like, that's so weak. That was my response. Because there's always been something deeper in me, right? That strives for this deeper meaning beyond just safety and security. And it's actually this deeper meaning and purpose that brings security. That actually is what security is. And so there was this fear in them. And of course it came up in me, it was oscillating in this time of like, should I freak out? Shouldn't I? And I was playing with these internal concepts. And it was, do I be fearful? Or do I realize that I'm already on rock bottom? Like I'm already negative in debt with student loans or whatever it is. I'm like, I'm already below bottom. Do I thus surrender and tighten even more to security? Or do I let go and fly and be who I came here to be? Because there was nothing to lose. So in these situations of hardship, whether it's financial or even medical, like health, relationships, if you're in these challenges, that's a position that's amazing because you're already at rock bottom. So there's nowhere to go but up. And there's nothing to try except that has not been tried before by you, which means that something can then change. And then the situation can get better, and maybe even better than it already was. So even in, say, like a relationship, right? My dad always said this to me when I was in like relationships, really challenging relationships. I was like, this sucks, and it's like, I don't think it's healthy and stuff. He's like, go deeper, move in with him, and go really, really deep into it, because it's in that moment of that pressure, right, of the crucible that then fucking like pops you out and burns away all that is not you, to then reveal the essence of what is, right? It's that like burning of the carbon and the pressure that then creates the diamond. And it's so powerful, and it's so beautiful, and it's so potent. So in these times right now of challenge, whether it's spiritual development and just like energetically you're having these challenges, or whether it's financial, whether it's health, if you have, say, a medical or health condition, there's nowhere else for you to go but like up, but to vitality. So it allows this place of release and surrender to allow that is eternal within you to be born. It's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And so just letting those ashes be ashes and not try to like hold on to the ashes in the urn and be like, my precious or something, is really where it's at. Another thing to realize is that this is where the deep, deep work is at. Because sometimes we're taught that when you're meditating, for 3 hours a day, like that's when you're really getting enlightened. But honestly, the real transformation is when we're faced with these really real, really human things, and we overcome them with grace, with integrity, with a fortitude of who we are. Like that's what's really potent, and that's where the true transformation comes from. So that's why I'm all about really bringing yourself more into here, more into the game, and the mastery can then take place quickly. Or you can be in the game and not want to be in the game, and then you're playing the video game and you're just gonna like run your character into a wall, and then you like run into a wall, and then you run into the wall. Do you know what I'm talking about? When you're playing a video game and that happens and your character's kind of like glitching out and you're trying to escape, and it's like, let's just play the game. Let's just do this. And understanding that the game isn't just there to mess with us. Like it's this like matrix trick that's horrible or something. It's honestly also set up and orchestrated by our higher selves and by Source itself. So it's not like the game creators are just the Illuminati. They're not. Like they're in cahoots with Source because they're a reflection of Source and just one element that makes it deeper and richer and more challenging for us. So I just wanted to note that as well. Now, going back to my story, this is my perspective on this experience. If you ask my dad, which I'll have him do a video on this, his experience of doing all the work for, a decade to build up millions and millions of dollars and do all that took, and then have it be gone overnight. That was a different experience for him, because he's the one that put in the effort, put in the work, and then had it disappear. And where is your motivation after that moment to continue playing the game in that way? Well, it has to change, right? Because you don't want to play that same game and then have it ripped away. And then it also makes you look at the game in new ways. So it's a whole different experience for him. Each thing's going to be a different experience for everyone, as we get to take these different gems and jewels away from it. I'll have him do that probably sometime in the next few months, and I'll post that. But going back to my experience with it, also, because I had the experience of what it was like to be on top, to be in this crazy mansion and have these crazy kind of beautiful 5-star experiences in different capacities, I realized that it's meaningless, and that it's actually very hollow. There's very artistic, very deep cultural kind of connections to it, say going on 5-star vacations to Italy. There's a richness in a way to that, but inherently, and I just spent the last week in LA, it's devoid of soul, it doesn't end up, it truly doesn't have the intrinsic meaning. Now, you can totally make abundance from that source space and then create with that. So that is totally possible. It just happens to be that a lot of that, the reasoning and the motivation to create that level of wealth, then is to find meaning, or to get something out of the reality when the reality can't give you anything. It's just a mirror, and the true sourcing comes from within. So going back to me in this story is, as I was graduating, it was very practical too. It wasn't just okay, well, I'm just gonna save the world. It was okay, I have nothing. I have this BMW, but I don't have the money to put gas in it to get to college. I'm doing my senior art exhibition, and I don't have enough money to buy canvases to the right size for the show. I had to buy mini canvases because I couldn't afford big canvases. Those kinds of whoa, okay, we're not in a good position here. So I ended up graduating everything. But now I'm in this position of, I guess, survival, you could call it, right? And so instantly I was okay, I need a job. And again, it's not this I need a job because I'm going to die or not be able to eat. It's practical. It's I need a job, while at the same time knowing that there's this deep, burning yearning of purpose and who I am and who I came here to be, sitting there ready, brewing, stewing. And so I went down and got a job as a barista. The admissions to this job was harder than Harvard to get into, because it was such a crazy job market. And I got it probably because I'm a cute girl, so whatever. There's advantages that some people have, and I honor that, in the game in that way. But I worked my butt off, for the whole summer. And then as I sat exhausted from this job, I went, I'm done with this. There must be more, it's time to really go for it. And then I started my own social media marketing company and got clients. And then from then on, I have pretty much worked for myself ever since. But still in this vein, I was still really put off by the kids in my class. And so I was what can I do to shift this? And so I wrote a book about finding passion in your career, because obviously it was something that people didn't have or didn't know that was needed, And so I wrote a book, I guess a year later, and I ended up printing lots of copies, and I took it to the university the next year and put a copy of the book on every car at graduation. I don't know if anyone read them, but nonetheless, it was just this idea of something more. And now you might be going, where's this book? I'm like, well, I don't really believe in like careers per se, or like job market type of thing. I believe more in living your purpose and your mission and having that just be this abundant flow. It's not like getting ahead in your career type of a thing. So it's slightly different now. But in this space, in this crucible of challenge that, say, like our family and many other people went through, there were many ways to define it. There were many ways to go about it, you know? And again, like if you ask my mom, if you ask my brother, they're very different experiences. But this is what I was bringing from the crucible. And it came out with like the creativity of a book, the burning passion of like, I will never like sacrifice myself for something deeper. And if you know my story a little bit, I think like 2 years later, I worked on a retainer at an ad agency. And that ended up being because I was doing ad stuff for like Disney and like bringing actually more joy to like people's lives. So it was still within like integrity, but even after a while, it was that constraint, right, that I couldn't have anymore because I couldn't truly be myself, right? So doesn't mean you have to go work for yourself or anything like that. But the point to this whole story is that in these moments of deep external crumbling, you have the complete power to choose how you engage and react or not react to that experience. And that is so freaking powerful. And the more that we can just take a moment and breathe and feel into our true knowingness. So if you want to go to my knowing video and see what that is within you and cultivate and build that, then you can come at it from like this higher perspective, right? Because you can't create a solution from the energy that it was made with. So we need to come at it from a higher vibration, a higher perspective. So now in my life, I honestly put vibration number one, because if my vibration is in alignment, if I'm in emotional, spiritual, and mental balance, which means meditation, time in nature, all of those kinds of things, and honestly putting them first, everything else in my life works so much better. And when things are even worse, even now, I still have to catch myself and I have to work on this constantly. It's like, oh, I better jump in there and work harder. I better, like overcompensate for this pull in the other direction. It's actually the opposite. It's to stop and to back up. And Patrick has helped me a lot with this. So it truly, honestly does work. Because in the vibrational state of balance and knowingness, you are magnetic. And you will truly then attract that which is aligned with you. And we have different karmic themes of like what we're meant to explore, what we're meant to experience. And so in those moments where I might be like, well, why is it happening to me? My vibration's been amazing for 5 years or something like that. It's because there might be something up deeply that you can learn from it, or this other people can learn from it. This is powerful stuff. I feel like it's more necessary than ever. And some people have written me and they're like, you're so lucky, you just get to do whatever you want and travel the world because you have a lot of money and your parents pay for it or something. I don't know where they get this idea. And I'm like, no, I mean, I've fully taken care of myself and taken care of the community, like different community segments at different times by myself. And it's that also that accountability and responsibility to be creators and to take care of ourselves and to take responsibility for ourselves. And the more that we're accountable to that, the more aligned we're going to be. So really it comes down to this purpose and deep mission, deep burning passion to know thyself at all moments and to realize that the exterior reality, it has meaning because it's part of the game setup. It's part of the game surroundings and stuff, environment. But it doesn't need to affect who you are. And just staying in that state, again, because I'm seeing, being back in the city for a hot minute, that it's like, whoa, you just like join the rat race, and it's all about what you can gain, how you can push yourselves above other people, what like you can have and hold, you know, and when it comes down to it, it's like, how can you serve? It's that service to self versus service to others. So which do you choose? So that's the message for today, and I will be back next week with another video, of course. And thank you guys so much for sticking with me, because over the past few weeks it's been a little bit glitchy with the videos, because honestly I've been focusing more on my vibration, and I need to get this back aligned so that I can transmit and bring through deeper stuff for you guys, and really go into that space of bringing it through. So thanks for sticking around. And if you like videos like this, please like and subscribe. Comment below if you have any additional techniques to overcoming challenge, as well as if you're in a challenge right now and how maybe this has helped you to see it in a new way and to approach it from a new perspective. Check me out on Instagram. And of course, I have a women's retreat coming up in Maui in September. I have a few more spots left. It's going to be so fun, so amazing. And then we have our Sedona adventure in October, if anyone's interested in that, which is pretty much just dedicated to finding your purpose, your mission, your innate internal unique giftings to gift the world. That's really what the Sedona adventure is about. So check those out, and I love you. You're rocking it. Let's do this.